The Phoenix Suns are being led by a 36-year-old point guard in Chris Paul and a young 24-year-old Devin Booker, who offensively is the closest thing to Kobe. But the million-dollar question is, should they fear the deer? Ladies and gentlemen, this final series is just as crazy as I thought it was going to be. And yes, the Phoenix Suns have to fear the deer. First, let's do a quick recap of the series so far. In Game 1, Chris Paul showed the world why he's the point god. Devin Booker wanted to be legendary and honor his idol, the late great Kobe Bryant. And Deandre Ayton wanted to show the world that traditional centers are still really relevant in today's game. The Suns won 118-105, and the NBA Twitter world went crazy. In Game 2, the Phoenix Suns showed the world how great of a jump shooting team they are. Going 20 for 40 from downtown, the Suns sealed the game at 118-108, and at this point, the Phoenix Suns were tasting that Larry O'Brien trophy. Going into Game 3, everyone thought the series was over. Chris Paul and the Suns had a chance to take a commanding 3-0 lead. But then, Scott Foster arrived on the scene, looked at the situation, and said, "Hold my beer." Chris Paul was 0 for 11 against Foster in his last 11 playoff games, and Game 3 was no different. Foster winked at the Bucks and said, "Giannis might be able to dunk like Superman, but watch what I can do."
Shot clock turned off. And a blocking foul.
Yes, guys, that was a defensive foul on Jay Crowder against Giannis. Anyways, Chris Paul is now 0 for 12 against Scott Foster in his last 12 playoff games when Foster was part of the officiating crew. On to Game 4. Scott Foster was nowhere to be seen, and the refs were now on the Suns' side. What I mean by that was, they refused to let Devin Booker foul out of the game.
And stolen. 3-on-1 for the Bucks. Holiday fouled by Booker. They didn't call it. Antetokounmpo.
Booker had 5 fouls at that point and intentionally fouled Jrue Holiday. There were at least 2 or 3 more situations similar to this, and this was the first time I saw someone stay in the game with like 8 fouls. Anyway, I also got to give Khris Middleton credit for the Game 4 win. He sometimes plays Jordan-esque, and he really had an MJ kind of game in Game 4, going for 40 points, getting the W for the Bucks, and tying the series at 2 apiece. This final series is truly exciting. I got my beers cold and ready to go, and I'll say it again, the Phoenix Suns really have to fear the deer. In particular, they gotta fear Giannis Antetokounmpo. Besides taking forever to shoot from the free throw line, and shooting like 18% from beyond the arc, Giannis is a beast. And I can see why Shaquille O'Neal handed off his Superman cape to the Greek freak.
Ayton again, another dominant board. Antetokounmpo on the steal. He soars and scores. Lopez way short on the 3. Tucker grabs it. Back to Antetokounmpo.
For the series so far, he's averaging 32.3 points, 14 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 1.8 steals, and 1.5 blocks. He really does live up to that slogan, "Fear the deer." After Game 3 on July 11th, where he scored 41 points in the finals, Giannis actually now has more 40-point games than Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Larry Bird, Karl Malone, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Wilt Chamberlain. That is pretty crazy if you ask me. But anyway, as the series goes on, Giannis and the Bucks are only going to get better and better as they figure out how to deal with that wall that the Suns are putting up against the Greek freak. And part of the answer on that wall is this next dude, Khris Middleton. On a bad day, Khris Middleton can shoot 5 from 16 from the field and go 1 from 6 from the three-point line and give you 11 points, aka Game 2. On a bad day, you wonder why Khris Middleton is even in the game.
Played by Bogdanovic, shoots over. Collins switches off to Middleton.
On a good day, however, Khris Middleton can give you about 40 points. He can give you game-winning shots and everything you need from a star shooting guard.
Middleton, 5 seconds left in overtime. Middleton with 2. Middleton, you bet!
His only problem is consistency. Otherwise, his game is Jordan-esque. Khris Middleton's the type of player who gets better as the series goes on. And now that we're going to go at least 6 games in this series, the Phoenix Suns have really got to fear the different weapons the Bucks have. I mean, a Greek Freak and Michael Jordan's shadow? Man, I'd include Drew Holiday into the mix of weapons, but he's having a dismal series so far, shooting 33% from the field and 27% from distance. Anyway, let's move on to how the Suns can turn up the heat against the Bucks and take back their lead. It's going to start with Devin Booker and his quest to be legendary. To be perfectly honest, I love Booker's game, but I think he's a bit of a dirty player. Let me show you what I mean.
I think Schroeder making this look a little worse than it was. That was a push there.
But he got pushed twice.
And you see Booker and Antetokounmpo, much ado about.
Booker pushed Dennis Schroeder in midair where they were up against the Lakers. That was a really dangerous non-basketball play and could have easily resulted in an injury. And then next up, as Giannis was getting up, he pushed him back down. Man, Booker, you're a great player. You could even be legendary, but you don't need to do these types of things on the court. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Aside from those things, Booker's game really is legendary. Offensively, he's actually the closest thing currently to Kobe Bryant, and I'm sure Kobe'd be proud of him. He can shoot the 3 ball, he can pull up for mid-range jumpers, he can get to the rim, and then on top of that, he can make his free throws. So far this series, Booker's averaging 27.5 points per game. This series is going to hinge a lot on the young 24-year-old and his ability to knock down shot after shot after shot. Aside from Booker, the Suns really need Chris Paul to be the point guard that showed up in Game 1. In the last 3 games, Chris Paul's had 15 turnovers, and each turnover's leading to something like this.
Chris Paul falls down and lost the ball. And you've got numbers right now if you're the Bucks.
Costly turnovers, leading to easy transition points in late-game situations, is going to make Chris Paul go into the same category as Karl Malone and John Stockton, one of the best players to never win a ring. CP3 has got to take better care of the ball and do his mid-range thing. If he can do those 2 things at an elite level, the Suns are going to be too hot for the Deer.
Chris Paul loves that spot.
Now, let's zoom out a bit of individual players and take a look at the team basketball situation. One thing the Suns have to fear is the tenacity of the Bucks and their will to get rebounds. The Bucks are playing big boy basketball and just out-muscling and out-hustling the Suns. In Game 3, the Bucks won the rebounding battle 47-36, and in Game 4, the Bucks had 17 offensive rebounds to the Suns' 5. Next off here, let me show you 4 numbers: 9, 12, 14, and 17. What do you think these represent? If you guessed turnovers, you got it. These are the Phoenix Suns' turnovers from Game 1 to Game 4. They're increasing by 3 every game, and that is not good. If you're going to turn the ball over like 17 times and get out-rebounded like 17-5 on the offensive boards, it doesn't matter if you can shoot 20 from 40 from the three-point line. You are going to lose that game. All the momentum is now with the Milwaukee Bucks as they look to take their first lead in the series. The Phoenix Suns have to continue to shoot well, because if they go cold in these next few games, this series is going to be over. They really do have to take the Bucks seriously now and fear the Deer. Anyway, the Phoenix Suns aren't the only team that has to fear the opponent. Team USA has to as well. If you want to know the scary truth about Team USA's chances at the Olympics, then click this video here, where I go over just what's going on with those 2 losses against Nigeria and Australia, and what the US team can do about it. It's a big one, guys, and honestly, it's just as exciting as the finals. Click it, watch it, and I'll see you on the other side.